Let me ask you something that doesn't make sense, but probably feels painfully familiar. You did what you're supposed to do, you didn't live alone, you got roommates, and you split the rent. So why does it still feel like one bad month could wreck your entire life? Why does rent still sit in the back of your head every single day, even though you did everything right? This isn't responsibility, and it's not poor planning. Something else is happening, and most people haven't realized it yet.
The average millennial is 36 years old and has nothing to their name, and they're living basically paycheck to paycheck with roommates in their 30s, not married, no kids because they can't afford it.
You see it everywhere if you pay attention. People with roommates who still can't save, still feel financially unstable, still panic when leases renew. Grown adults sharing kitchens, sharing bathrooms, sharing space, but still living with constant financial tension.
So we're essentially in a trap that we literally cannot get out of no matter how much we work, no matter how many jobs we have.
You can hear it in how she talks. I have roommates and I'm still broke. Splitting rent didn't fix anything. I thought this was temporary. Now it's permanent.
I mean, think about working and having nothing to show for it. No savings, no investments, no house, nothing.
This isn't isolated anymore. It's becoming the norm. Here's the part nobody explains clearly. Roommates used to reduce rent anxiety because wages covered more ground, rent was a smaller percentage of income, shared housing was temporary, but now rent has risen faster than wages for over a decade. So splitting rent doesn't create relief anymore. It just slows down the damage. Instead of, this makes things easier, roommates now mean, this keeps me from drowning. For now. You're not reducing the problem, you're stretching it across more people, and that changes everything psychologically. And here's the part most people miss. When roommates stop being a bridge and start being a requirement, rent anxiety doesn't go away, it becomes permanent. Because now your housing stability depends on other people's jobs, other people's discipline, other people's life decisions. That's not stability, that's just borrowed time. This is why the anxiety never shuts off. You can't fully relax. You can't fully plan. You can't fully feel like an adult with control over your own life. Because deep down, you know one roommate moving out, one rent increase, one lease change could push everything over. And that constant background stress, that's not accidental. It's the system quietly redefining what normal adulthood looks like. Now, this is the part people rush through, but we won't. There are options, but none of them are clean wins. They are pressure trades. Option number one is going to be more roommates in a cheaper space. Some people respond by stacking more people into the same space. Yes, it lowers rent per person, but the cost shows up elsewhere. Zero privacy, constant friction, emotional exhaustion, never feeling at home. You don't feel grounded. You feel temporary in your own life. This isn't freedom, it's compression. Another option is moving further out. Others trade commute time, safety, access for lower rent. On paper, it looks responsible, but in reality, you're paying with hours of your life, mental fatigue, isolation, and lost opportunities. The rent bill goes down, your energy bill goes up. The third option is stay stuck and hope it stabilizes. This is the most dangerous and the most common option. You tell yourself, I'll just wait it out. Things will level off. This is temporary. But rent rarely reverses, and roommates rarely become less necessary over time. Waiting isn't neutral, it quietly locks you into a shrinking future. Now, some people radically change the equation. This is where people start looking at different cities, different states, different countries, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to stop playing defense. The option carries risk, uncertainty, identity shifts, but it also does something important. It breaks the assumption that rent must always dominate your life. Now, let's be very clear because this is where trust matters. Roommate living is not for everyone long term. If you value solitude, control, emotional space, permanent shared living will slowly drain you, even if it's affordable. You may survive financially, but feel stuck personally. Also, moving away is not a cheat code. Changing locations doesn't erase pressure, it moves it. You may trade financial stress for cultural adjustment, distance from family, instability in other areas. Some people thrive in that, and others don't. This isn't about what's better, it's about what fits. The biggest trade off isn't money, it's what happens when adulthood feels delayed indefinitely. When "I'll figure it out later" quietly turns into "this is just how life is now." That realization hits hard, and most people don't talk about it. So if you're living with roommates and still feel rent anxiety every month, you didn't fail, you didn't mismanage, and you're not alone. The rules changed, quietly, and what used to be a temporary workaround is becoming a permanent requirement. The real question isn't, how do I make this more tolerable? The real question is, how long am I willing to live like this? And what is it costing me over time? That's a question you have to answer today. But once you see it, it's very hard to unsee.